Hey guys, it's Bro You Whack, and my prayers have finally been answered because a Mei change is finally gonna be coming soon. Recently, the lead hero designer, Alec Dawson, which is actually the same developer that me and Crystal had an interview with CarQ and Ava, another set of content creators, where they asked a bunch of questions involving hero changes, which today involves our favorite hero, or maybe my favorite hero, Mei, but also Lifeweaver, Roadhog, and Sombra. So even though I'm on vacation in Japan right now, you know I had to make a video updating y'all on the changes, especially with my girl Mei. So if I sound different, it's because, well, I'm using a different mic, and I'm also talking very quietly because it's quite literally 11 p.m. right now. Alright, so first, we gotta talk about these Mei changes, because she was the first hero announced well before Overwatch 2 came out that she was gonna be getting a rework, and that literally just involved removing her freeze. And that was always the most fun part about Mei, because it was so satisfying to be able to outplay an opponent, either because they were out of position or just because you were better than them. But because people said that it was not fun to go against a Mei, then they removed it. However, we have been begging for them to just at least try to add some form of the freeze back, and a change related to her primary is coming, and this is what Alec had to say specifically on the Mei changes.
Mei's primary fire, that's almost done now. We're going to be taking a look at how we're adding sort of that little mini game that she had previously. You're not going to freeze another hero entirely, but you build up to a bigger moment of that slow.
So getting that minigame back was the exact thing that we have been wanting for Mei. Now obviously they're not going to revert the Mei free changes, because if they decided 3 years in advance that Mei was no longer going to be able to freeze people, then I don't think they're going to be reverting those changes anytime soon. But what we are getting in return is a shorter time in between a hero having 100% speed to whatever the percentage of speed is for Mei's freeze. I think it's like 50% or so. Now you might be sitting there and saying, well, that's not really a rework, why would they call it that? And even Alex said that it's not much of a rework, it's more like just a mini change, but if anything, it just seems like a buff. So if they're really wanting to make a huge impact with satisfying the Mei community, which is about like 4 of us, then they would be adding something on top of the slow. But I'm thinking, it's like, well, what would they add that wouldn't involve just stopping somebody like how it would be beforehand with the freeze? Like maybe there would be some sort of like new ability, like maybe there is a slow to enemies cooldowns, like if someone is getting attacked by a Mei and you have like a 5-second cooldown, well, if you're getting frozen by them, then maybe the speed is cut by 1/3 or a half, or whatever the case may be. Now obviously I'm just spitballing an idea there. You might think that's the most overpowered or stupidest idea, but at least then there would be a unique part about Mei's hero kit that isn't just slow down and do damage, and that would maybe be a little bit more interactive, but I think it would still suffer the same problem that Mei has right now, and that is she is still very boring to play, and it isn't all that satisfying to play. Whereas in Overwatch 1, it was very satisfying to stop somebody with their pants down, freeze them, and shoot them in the head. But you know who is satisfying to play right now, but is just straight up not good, like she would be considered the worst DPS here right now, is Sombra. Now Sombra mains, I'm not gonna lie, y'all were lied to, because a Sombra change was supposed to come in Season 4, and well, you did get one, but it was only for Mei specifically. Sombra is suffering from the exact opposite problems that Mei is suffering from, where Sombra's hero kit is fun and satisfying, but she's just straight up not good. And so this is what Alec had to say in terms of a Sombra rework 3.0.
I think with Sombra, it is going to be down the road, but in terms of where we're at design-wise, it is something that we're just putting the finishing touches on. We're leaning into her capabilities a bit more in terms of how she can actually fight more. She is going to be a bit more lethal, but that is going to be coming with some other things and drawbacks to some of the rest of her capability.
So where Mei's just getting a buff, Sombra is getting a true rework, where they're potentially going to be removing one of her abilities, which is something that a lot of people have kind of been alluding to, and what I've alluded to before is potentially removing her translocator. Now, I say that very hastily because I don't want them to remove an integral part about Sombra that, well, even in the cinematic is a part of her hero kit. But hearing Alex say that the Sombra changes are going to have drawbacks to her escapability, well, ding ding ding, it's her translocator that is probably going to be changed, either fully removed and adding more to her damage, or just something, maybe adding a new ability that could still fit the hacking Lantina hero that we've all known and love, which in my personal opinion, I think would just fix, just adding more to her damage, but removing her translocator so that you're not spending time out of the fight. The next hero that's going to be changing is is Lifeweaver, who seems to be getting a new change every single week, it seems like. Now, it was announced a couple days ago that Lifeweaver would not only be getting changes to his abilities and the numbers, but also to his controls. So I am a little bit late on this, but this is actually huge news because this is something that everybody, even us in the test server, were wanting them to do. So the new control changes are as followed. So his Thorn Valley will now be his secondary fire instead of it being the pedal platform. His pedal platform is going to be moved to his ability 1, which is where his rejuvenating dash was originally. And canceling the pedal platform, all you gotta do is press the same button that it's bound to. And his rejuvenating dash is exactly like Hanzo's, where you just have to do a double jump and you'll just rejuvenate dash forward to the side, wherever. Along with that, his healing, his damage, and his ultimate are all getting buffed. However, to compensate for these buffs, he is getting his parting gift removed, which that's fine. I didn't really like that passive ability. I think it's very stupid that you should be rewarded by having your healer die, and that part is probably the most healing aspect about him, whereas now he's able to heal a lot more because he has more healing ammo. He's no longer slowed by the heal after or before 1 second, and he also does more healing with his Tree of Life. And while these Lifeweaver changes like to his controls are going to be coming out sometime this week, what is going to be coming out in the far future is changes to his hitbox.
It's something, that we're still talking about, but we don't have any dates right now to share. Whenever we change hitboxes or anything, model-wise, it is quite a lot of work. It can involve multiple things depending on what approach we take. Looking at the backpack and those sorts of things that he has
Mhm.
the pedals on his back.
A big problem with Lifeweaver is that his hitbox is ginormous because he does have his pedal backpack in the back, which is such an easy thing to hit from close and far away, so Sombras just continuously farm Lifeweaver. But luckily, they are at least talking about it, but apparently it takes a long time to change hitboxes for heroes, which I had no idea about. But the final hero that we're going to be talking about before I finally go to bed is Roadhog. Now, my biggest problem with the Roadhog that was addressed by Alec is that he is a very selfish tank and he does nothing for your team. And if he is not getting kills, he truly is just being a giant old battery for the enemy team. So when it comes to changes, this is what they said about a Roadhog rework coming in probably the next couple of seasons.
Definitely still working on that one.
Okay.
One of our main discussions is deciding how transformative we want to be. We have some things where it's like, oh yeah, this would feel great. Does it feel like a rework? Is it enough to really change how Roadhog fits into the tank role itself? Another question is like, how much should he fit into the tank role? I think there's a component with Roadhog and people who enjoy Roadhog where there's a little selfish aspect there that is fun.
So obviously he's always going to be a selfish tank, but when it comes to trying to fit the tank role, they have a unique opportunity that people have been suggesting ever since 2017, and that is, okay, well, if you're going to make him a tank, well, why not fit the tank role where you can help your team out by changing his heal ability? Right now you can heal yourself for 300 health. Why don't you rework it to where you only heal yourself as Roadhog for 200 health, but you spill out like maybe 100 heals on the floor so that you're a supportive tank, because we really don't have that in Overwatch 2 right now. The only hero that is somewhat similar is Brigitte, where if you do damage, it heals your team. Why not take this opportunity to add the first support tank hero in the game, where it would not only fit Roadhog's hero kit, but it would in fact help him, because the biggest problem with Roadhog is that obviously everyone wants to shoot the Roadhog, and if your support heroes aren't going up with you, then it's going to be struggle city with Roadhog. But at least if you heal your allies by spilling heal on the floor, well, it's going to incentivize people to go to you, because that's where the heal spill is going to be. Whenever Roadhog rework is talked about, I'm always going to suggest that change, because I think that would be such a cool opportunity and a really good change for Roadhog. But let me know what you think about the Roadhog changes. Let me just know what you think about all these hero changes. And again, I apologize for talking very quiet. I hope my neighbor isn't too mad at me, but I really had to talk about all the hero changes that are going to be coming out in probably the next couple of seasons. But anyway, guys, I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching more Overwatch 2 videos to come, and bye.